Hello out there. For any of you who have not tried this, and I don't know if this is widely known, super widely known, unknown, or if you know about it but you didn't want to try it because you were afraid, not literally afraid, but worried, anxious, nervous, whatever, about putting a script into an AI assistant and letting it give you feedback. I had sort of heard about people doing this on articles and stuff like that, but not so much on scripts. And obviously, there's the raging debate on what's going to happen in the future. And I frankly was not a big proponent of it. Purposely stayed away from it. But then I saw someone doing something totally different, and it just got me thinking. I had the idea. Well, someone sort of gave me the idea, and I went into Chat GPT. And then someone said, well, have you tried Grok? And I had not. So I tried it the other day, and I'm going to do another small example just to let you see how it works. So you just obviously search for it. You go in and you ask it anything. What I'm going to ask it is, please, you don't have to use the word please, but I don't know why I find myself doing this. Give me feedback on the first several scenes from a spec screenplay I'm working on. The truth is, I've been working on this for literally close to 10 years on and off. And then if you want, you can give it parameters like this is going to be a low budget film, this is going to be a big budget film. I want to know about character arcs. I want to know about relationships. I want to know about credibility. I want to know about dialogue. So let me just say I'm mainly concerned on how well this sets up the story that is to come. I'd also like feedback on the dialogue. And then dialogue. Don't go easy on me. I really want constructive criticism. All right. So I'm going to put that in. Here's a detailed feedback. If the scene introduces compelling, blah, blah, blah. So it's basically going to lay out the things it's going to look for, which is pretty cool. You can read all this if you want, but anyways, so here's the script. It's called Ripple. I've been writing this, as I said, and rewriting it for a number of years. And just when I think it's good, someone pokes a hole in it. The story has to do with this guy who invents two different types of technology for commercializing teleportation and the ramifications thereof. I'll leave it at that. So it starts out when he's young, and what is the driving factor is that a very young friend of his, when they're like 6 years old, moves away, and he gets the idea that I'm going to come up with a way so people never have to move away again. So that's basically the impulse. And then they grow up and they go to college and they start inventing it. All right. So I'm just going to go down to here. It says 5 to 10 pages is usually a good amount. If you put a whole script in at once, I haven't tried it, but apparently it doesn't work that well. So here's the first 5.5 pages. Basically sets up the story when they're young, and then we flash forward until they're in college. So I copy it, paste it into here. Here are the first several pages for your feedback. I don't know that you have to need to be so polite, but I find myself doing it. So you paste it into there. And then here's a detailed critique focusing on the story and setup for dialogue in these initial scenes. So, I mean, it is just absolutely crazy how fast it does this. And I guess in the, when you think of 3D rendering and all the stuff computers can do, and this is just simple text, it makes sense that it can do it so fast. But still, I mean, literally no time passes. And it obviously, I mean, it's not just generic, platitudes and stuff. It completely goes through it. And whether, of course, the question is whether it's has any validity, whether you agree with it or not. And so what I'm going to do, not with this script, but with another one, is I'm going to compare the notes that I got from Grok 2, it looks like, which was like 30 pages of notes. I think I put in probably 18 or 20 chunks at a time. So like up to page 5, up to page 10, 10 to 15, 15 to 20, blah, blah, blah. And I got about 30 pages of these types of notes. And so, again, whatever you ask it to give you feedback on, that's what it focuses on. On the other one, like I was concerned about story arc, about relationships, about a love story, about the credibility of the story given its genre. I mentioned that it was going to be a low-budget movie I was going to make myself, so it took all that into account. And so this is the kind of stuff that it gives you. And I'm not going to read it all right here, but it's pretty crazy. And then what you do is you can put the next chunk in, and it will remember what's already in there. So then it will continue on knowing what's come before. The only catch is that if you time out of a session and you turn it off and come back, it forgets everything you've put in there. Supposedly it doesn't store any of this. I asked it, and hopefully it's telling the truth. I asked it if it kept track of it and was using it for learning or whatever, and it says no, and it gave me an explanation. So now it's a few hours later, and I'm fully awake and speaking louder. So I thought I would just wrap this up by saying that, yes, I asked it, and it said it does not store any information. It does not use what is input by me or by other users for learning, and I didn't really pay attention to everything it said. And I haven't completely gone through the notes because I mean, the whole process of copying and pasting all those chunks in, I mean, it doesn't take a long time, maybe 10 or 15 minutes, but I didn't want to take the time to read all of the stuff. But what was interesting is that when I first tried it and I first read what it was saying, and some of the suggestions were because it hadn't read the next section of the script. And so when it did read it, it was like, oh, blah, 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 like you did, pay attention to what I was talking about, even though the script was already written. So in short, so far, I mean, this is super impressive. It's not really scary, I guess. I guess it's cool. And so, as I said, what I'm going to do is I've got a few people that are reading the same script. In fact, I had one guy who read a little of it, and it wasn't really his cup of tea because of my writing style, because it was for a movie I'm going to make, and it wasn't a spec script, so I didn't write it in the detail that one would write a spec script. And so that was fine. But hopefully I'll have 2 or 3 people read it, and then I will compare their notes to the X Grok notes, and I can't imagine they will be nearly as extensive as Grok, and I wouldn't expect them to be. But it'll be very interesting because I feel like it sort of goes easy on you, is very encouraging, which is good. And I don't know if I could say like be super tough. I did say I want constructive criticism. I didn't say, hey, praise me to the moon. So it'll be very interesting to see what the future holds, and I will report back when I know more.